Hello, Brandon.
Hi, Filippo.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to
Really a
meet you as
pleasure.
well.
So, tell me about what's the issue? What's the problem?
Okay,
What's
so as you know, I do a lot of things and stuff. I wear many hats in my day to day life and stuff. And one thing that I struggle with is getting that 7 to 8 hours of consistent sleep every night. Um, it's always been hard because working both in the education industry and the creative industry, sometimes rehearsals will go a little bit late. Sometimes I'll be doing events where I'm working like a night shift or overnight shift and stuff, and so it's sometimes very hard. And right now, while I'm still in school, I just want to get like consistent time, a consistent 7 to 8 hours of sleep so that I can function properly due to some things I've learned about brain health and sleep deprivation.
so the goal is to sleep 6 to 7 hours a week.
I would like to get 6 to 8 hours consistently.
Okay, and does it happen a lot? Like, are you able to get this 6 to 8 hours sleep often during the week, or
I would say I fluctuate between 5 or 6. I'm a weird person. I'm both a night owl and a morning person. As a creator, I love creating between 11 p.m. and 4 a.m. I don't know what it is about that time. I just like I do is just pop up. I love just just getting into a flow state during that time,
mm-hmm.
and just creating and stuff. But I also love running in the morning. I love cycling in the morning. I love watching the sunrise and stuff. And just I like starting my day before all the chaos of the world starts because it helps me ground myself before I get connected with everybody else. So it's very tough because it's like I will do some creative stuff and then recognize it's 1:30 and I'm like freak, okay, I need to get in bed now and stuff. But then it's like I still want to get up around 5:30 to like meditate for 15 minutes and then get on the bike and then head and do all that stuff. So like it's hard because I'm like struggling this night owl identity and this like morning person identity as well.
And does this, like, doing all this stuff though make you happy?
It brings me so much joy.
So you're happy during the night when you create, when you have your creative flow. At the same time, you're happy during the
Yes,
morning.
but I've noticed that like I tried to do this 2 years ago, and I noticed that when I actually put time limits on the creation and the flow states and stuff, I actually could get. I was able to increase from getting 5 to 6 to getting 6 to 7. I
Okay.
wasn't able to maintain it for longer than 14 days though. That
Okay.
was the issue and stuff. But when I would put like creative time limits where I would spend 20 minutes on each creative project and I would just have a stopwatch with a timer, that worked, but I could never sustain it because of just life and stuff.
And tell me more about this. When do you start your? You said you start your creative period of time between 11 to
Well, I'm
4.
always creating and stuff throughout the day and stuff things like that. But I would say that like I start like around like 9 or like sometimes around like 8 and stuff if I'm coming back from the gym. The issue is that like once I try to go lay down at 10:30 and stuff, I will be able to maybe lay down for like 15 minutes, but if I can't fall asleep in that time, I'm like, well, let me tire myself out by working on this creative project. But it doesn't tire me out; it energizes me, and so that's the issue. So it's like I'm trying to find a routine where, like, when I get in bed, I don't leave the bed.
Okay. So I see now. I see now. And tell me more about this. Like, mm, why? Like, how it comes after such a big day? Like, how, for what you're telling me, you wake up really early, you walk, like you go take the bike, go with the bike out. Then I can imagine that you'll have a really full day. How is it possible that when you, at the end of the day, around 10, 11 p.m., when you get into the bed, why don't you feel the need to go to sleep?
I think that
Are you not tired? That's the question.
I think that I am. I think that I am tired and stuff, but I think it really started in not even college. I think it started in high school for me and stuff. Me and my friends, we did a lot. We played a lot of sports. We were involved in a lot of community stuff, and we also worked jobs. and we were happy to work these jobs because we were turning 16. We could finally have a, part-time job, etc. and stuff. And so it, I don't know. I think I had it started to become this adrenaline junkie because when my friend was the only one who had a car at 16 and stuff, and so like we all worked at the same job. So instead of like him dropping us off, we would go to my house and then sit in the driveway with like McDonald's and just talk. So it was like I had FOMO because I didn't want to sleep because we were just having so much fun. I think that translated to me being this like adrenaline junkie and always wanting to like I never wanted the night to end because I was like, oh, there's always something to do. I had this FOMO.
So this started since high school.
Yes.
And before, were you like, have you ever been a heavy sleeper, like someone that sleeps a lot of hours?
Well, see, that's the thing. I can sleep a lot and stuff, but I think.
But do you have the need for it?
I don't.
Have you ever felt the need of sleeping that much?
I haven't felt the need, but the problem is I've had times in my life where I've been rushed to the hospital because I was feeling so fatigued and so groggy. I literally like almost like it felt like I had like muscle deprivation or something stuff. And then I would go to the doctor. I remember junior year of high school, I went to the doctor, left school early with my mom, and the doctor was like, I can't find anything wrong. He was like, you're super healthy, you're fit, you got straight A's, you play sports, but then he asked me a question, how much sleep do you get? And I was like, well, I think I've gotten between 3 or 4 hours over the last, few months. And he was like, you need to sleep. And then I slept for maybe 10 hours, like 3 days straight, and then I was fine. And like, what's weird is that a lot of my sickness doesn't really come from me really being sick. It comes from the sleep deprivation and that causing other symptoms.
But can I tell you something? Like for my experience, I have my stepdad.
Mm-hmm.
He's an amazing man, and he used to. He's not a sleeper at all. Like he sleeps 3-4 hours at night every night. He has been doing this all his life. It's not that he doesn't need to set alarms. Like after 4 hours of sleep, he just
Mm-hmm.
wake up and he is fully energized. Why am I bringing him up? It's just to show you that there are people that need to sleep 6 hours, 7 hours, 8 hours. There are people that need to sleep 10 hours a day. You might be someone that does not need that much sleep. Like there are people that that are really active in the morning. People that cannot work in the morning and are really active in the afternoon and during nights.
Yeah.
You seem to be someone that actually is active all day. So it might be the case that you don't really need to sleep 7 or 8 hours per night in
Mm-hmm.
order to be fully recovered or energized. So if you want to set this as a goal, you can, as you're trying to do, set a limit to your creativity at night and go to sleep. But on the other hand, if both being doing that kind of activity makes you feel joy, and on the other hand, waking up in the morning to go biking makes you feel joy, maybe you don't need all that sleep.
Can I say the flip side of that though?
Of course.
I have this
Just
weird-
want you to think about
Yeah,
it.
no, that is, and I think that's a beautiful point that you brought that we'll need to reflect on more in future sessions. I think the one thing though that I did notice is that like I prefer sleep. I don't know what it is, but like I like sleeping when the sun is out. So in college, I loved when I would get out of class around 2, and I loved going to sleep between 2 p.m. and 5 p.m. with my window open with the sun on me. Back in Cali, I loved taking like naps at the beach and stuff. And so like sometimes I used to tell my friends I think I have a flipped circadian rhythm because I like sleeping with the sun.
That was let's say my second question would
Yeah.
have been this one. Like, have you tried, in order to do all of this, to maybe try to sleep some hours during the afternoon instead of sleeping the all like 7 or 8 hours at night
Yes.
to take a nap after lunch, maybe 1 or 2 hours to recover if you need it.
Yes, and so like I think I've struggled because like I do love doing like the little 1 hour midday nap. It's beautiful for me, and so especially like if I'm during like a training season where I'm doing 2 a days and stuff. I think the only issue is that I listen to a lot of different podcasts, and Dr. Rangan Chatterjee, who has the Feel Better, Live More podcast that's based out of the UK, he has been talking a lot about how like naps shouldn't go for too long, and like the way that I'm doing naps, they're way too long, and stuff. And so it's like I'm having a hard time honoring my personal physiological needs and also
But
listening to the data
you
that
are
is
you.
yes.
Like, that's something that you always have to take into account. Like
That is
you
very true.
are you. When we listen to this kind of podcast, these are generalized kind of studios. They're generalized kind of studies. You are a different type of person. You are unique in your being.
Hmm.
So what might work for you might not work for others. You have to do what makes you happy and what makes you feel joy.
Very, very true.
It's been a pleasure.
It's been a
Wish
pleasure.
to see you again.
Yes, I will. Thank you so much. Oh, feedback. You did a really, really, really great job at like really like I think of it as like a tree and like limbs and stuff. Like you had the main question and you dig deep and then you continue to dig deep and you just continue to add more branches to really see the full picture. And you did a really great job with that. You also did a really great job at like recognizing that like I'm like recognizing the uniqueness of the client and stuff and being like, hey, I know you've been reading these different articles, but you have to understand what works best for you versus what the person online is saying or what the person on Instagram is saying and stuff. That is really good and stuff because sometimes and stuff a lot of people who are trying to look for advice, they're mad because the getting up at 3 a.m. to meditate for 2 hours doesn't work for them, but it's like most people don't do that. That's for the people, the monks and and stuff. So it's like sometimes, but sometimes we are indoctrinated in a way, or to where we think that oh well I'm a bad person because I don't get up at 5 a.m. and meditate, and
It's not true. It's not like
it's bad that I don't eat spinach for breakfast and only strawberry. You know what I'm saying? Like little stuff
Yeah.
like that and stuff like just things. So like it's great that you do that and stuff because it shows that you're actively taking into account who's in front of you and not the like who's online and stuff because that person is their own unique person. If getting up at 3 a.m. and meditating for 2 hours works for them,
good for you.
good for you.
It's not for me.
Live your life. That's not even for me, but we support it, right?
Absolutely, absolutely.
But right now we're supporting the client and stuff, and you did a great job in doing that. So kudos to you.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.